right, Jason, what about last year's winner, Jon Rahm? So he's plus 1,200 to repeat as U.S. Open champion. Like, what are your thoughts on playing him this week and maybe sprinkling a little goodness on him?
Look, I don't hate Rahm. I've got him in my top 10 this week, but he's just been off just a little bit. When Jon Rahm's playing his best golf, he's as good, if not better, than everybody else in the world. His A game is fantastic. I just feel like it's been too much of that sort of B- game this year. And you look at the stats across the board, and you go, I don't really want to totally fade him, but I just don't want to jump on Jon Rahm, especially at that number in the betting markets. If you want to play him for a top 10 this week, I'm okay with that. You want to throw him in some DFS lineups, I'm okay doing that. But I'm not going all in on Jon Rahm. I just feel like something's missing from that game. The putter hasn't been great this year, and so I'm staying away just a little bit.
All right, Geoff, but nobody's better off the tee than the reigning champ, and there's no event where that's more important, as you guys have discussed, than the U.S. Open.
That and again, I mean, I just think that Jon Rahm is probably more capable than anyone of getting it out of the rough than, just in terms of strength. So Jon Rahm's going to be a good U.S. Open player. I mean, look, if this number was plus 1,600, I would be jumping on him. I really would. It's plus 1,200 right now on DraftKings. It's not a big gap, but when you've got guys like Scheffler and Xander under him, it is kind of hard to jump on him at this number. I really do like him for DFS. I think a lot of people are just going to go with the hot hand from last week. I think Rahm, if you can get him like 5%, maybe even 10% lower than some of those other names, that's where I would get my exposure to Jon Rahm this week. You could also look to him for a top 5 bet. I think that's fine. But, unless you can get this number down before tee off to like a plus 1,600 range, I think that using Jon Rahm at DFS is probably my preferred venue. I do like him this week. I think he's going to be in contention. I think that his game, we're making a little bit, we just have such high expectations for Jon Rahm. So he's a little bit off. It's like, what's going on? But he's won an event in 2022. He hasn't been that bad. I think that he probably comes back and at one of his favorite events and probably does really well. So I'm looking to him to have a good week, but not necessarily someone I'm going to add in my outright card unless we get a better number by Wednesday. Yeah,
and he struggled with his putting and chipping earlier in the season, but he seems to have fixed that really over his past 4 events.
It's such a variable thing. Like around the green, he could just show up, and it's going to be just a difficult putting week for everyone. So
also leads the tour in strokes gained off the tee, which is also kind of important.